Warning. This is not a safe space. Leave your bullshit and feelings at the door.
Every single day, there's a war on men. But it's up to us to actually decide if we're going to let that happen.
It's time for the most raw and unfiltered experience on the internet. So kick your feet up and grab a cold one. You have just entered the Man Cave. And now, here they are, winners of the self-proclaimed International Greatest Men Alive Award, Brad and Terry.
All right, thanks for joining us here in the Man Cave. I'm Brad.
And I'm Terry.
And make sure to check us out online on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and listen to us on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, and YouTube. But if you want the full, no bullshit experience and the ability to win prizes, you have to subscribe to us over on Patreon, and we'll talk about that a little more later.
Would you quit asking the people for money and pass me a beer, dude?
Yes.
What are we drinking today?
All right, today we are drinking the Carl Strauss Brewing Company Columbia Street Amber, and it's brewed right here in San Diego, and this is they won the 2016 Midsize Brewing Company of the Year, so let's see how good it really is.
Yeah, let's see.
All right, so let's just jump right in, right? So when we started talking about creating this podcast, what we're going to be about, like I knew I wanted to talk about some fun things like beer, sports, and like generally funny shit and things that men deal with on a daily basis. But that doesn't really, like, to me, truly define what a man is.
Right.
So, like, to me, you can be a great man and never drink a beer, never smoke a cigar, not really watch any sports or anything like that. Because to me, again, that doesn't really define manliness. So what really defines a man? So I pondered this for quite a while as we were getting ready to kickstart this thing off. And I really boiled it down to it's his actions. Right? A man's actions should be of two things, right? To provide and to protect. It's really just that simple. Right? The better you provide and protect, to me, the better of a man you actually are. And providing doesn't necessarily have to be financial, though a man should be getting his ass out there and getting the work, getting it in, and bringing some things home for his family. It doesn't mean you're out there making $2 million a year. There's plenty of men out there that are kicking ass, working 50, 60 hours a week and not bringing home seven figures, maybe not even bringing home six figures. You know, it's just the nature of the beast, but they're still out there getting it. So, like, what is other ways that men provide, right? They provide for their kids, and not just financially. They provide emotional support, right? They teach their kids how to be men, how to transition from boys to men. And they do that with other family members and other kids in the community and people in the community, and providing that support system for their spouse, right? And then protecting is really, really simple. You don't allow any outside threat to hurt anybody you love, right? And that's either physically or emotionally.
Right. The main thing that I think that we can accomplish with this podcast is, you know, there is a war on masculinity going on across the whole world right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. And, you know, masculinity in itself has been declared the enemy, both overtly by some and by many more covertly. You know, and so many men have been and are currently being reprogrammed to feel guilty for simply being exactly what they're supposed to be. Now, a lot of people will probably quickly point the finger at the feminist groups, right? Because that's the first place it always goes, is like, oh, these feminists, they hate men, blah, 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 they hate men. And I can't bring myself to blame them, right? Because us as men, and I consider myself a strong man, you consider yourself a strong man, right?
Damn
we
right.
would be the ones that would have to allow that attack to actually succeed, right? And I'm not going to put myself in a state of victimhood by blaming somebody else for tearing down men. And now you have these kids, right? Because the kids, if there is a victim in this whole thing, it is kids. Because this thought process that masculinity is bad all starts when someone is young, right? Because if you grow up as a strong man, you're not going to be vulnerable to this, right? So it all starts when you're a kid, and it starts when, you know, a boy is at school acting like a boy, and, you know, your boyish behavior That's ADD. Here's your pills. It's at the littlest problem. We're given a prescription, right? Because you shouldn't be mean. You shouldn't be competitive, right? You shouldn't necessarily be mean, but boys have that more aggressive personality, right? And they want to compete, right? And things like that. And people take that the wrong way and think, oh, he's aggressive. No, he wants to compete. It's in our nature, right? And now you have these kids voluntarily castrating themselves. It's happening more and more. And the real dose of reality with the whole thing is you have grown-ass men who are castrating themselves mentally because of it. They're giving up. They're so scared to act like a man that they just become this stagnant husk of a person, right? It's led us to a point of complete pussification. And now the current generation of boys is a bunch of oversensitive little bitches who just complain about how long it's been since their last Tinder match. These half men think that every time they simply look at a woman in person, not, scrolling through their phone, they're objectifying her and think, oh no, there must be something wrong with me. I'm such a pervert, right? No, you're a fucking healthy man with a pulse. Stop being a pussy and stop apologizing for being a man. And I think as I mentioned before, the root cause of everything is this elimination of competition, right? Yep. Because everybody now, if you're competitive, you're sought to be mean and aggressive, right? And everybody gets a participation trophy and everything, Like, I'm sorry, but once you grow up, you don't get a trophy or an award for last place.
No, those all go away. When you get a job, your employer's not going to be like, hey, that was a good try. Just keep trying like that, and it'll be really cool. No, you're going to have to compete against other employees if you want that raise.
Right. Yeah, and if you fail, sometimes you don't even keep your job.
Exactly. If you don't do good enough, he doesn't give you a trophy for it. He gives you a box and tells you to beat feet, get lost. You're fired.
Yeah, so I think, it all comes down to, we're here to fight this war against masculinity.
Absolutely.
And it really just all boils down to this elimination of competition, in my opinion. Only one team wins the Super Bowl, man.
Yeah. Think about any professional sport, even college-level sports. There's only one championship.
Yeah.
The 64 teams that start the tournament for NCAA basketball, they don't all get a trophy for it. Only the one team at the end that beat the teams every game they played wins, and it's not even may not even be the number one team from the season who ended with the number one seed. It's a straight competition. Everybody starts with a clean slate. Just you kind of get rack and stacked based on your ability and where you fell in the standings. But hey, man, if you lose in the third round and you were the number one team, cool story, bro. You're out.
Yeah, and it happens. And I mean, on that, with the whole, only one team wins the Super Bowl, right? Yeah. It's like I just had my my fantasy football draft, last weekend.
Oh, man.
And I posted the results, so I know a few people have already kind of seen them, but I'm in a 12-person league, and for me to get some of the picks that I got for this fantasy draft is pretty remarkable, if you ask me. I can't even believe that I got Aaron Rodgers and Ezekiel Elliott.
So, I'll admit, I don't really watch football at all.
Well, you've always been more of a basketball
Absolutely.
guy.
So, growing up in Indiana, football's cool. That's neat. We know what it is, but basketball's the bread and butter, man.
Well, let me learn you a little bit on some football, right? So, we, obviously, the big names, right? Like Aaron Rodgers, Ezekiel Elliott. I had to get Ezekiel Elliott for my handcuffs, but but I also got my two other running backs. I kind of didn't really focus too much on the running backs, even though everybody else in my league did, and I know that it's the current state of fantasy football is, you draft heavy on your running backs, right? But I still feel like my quarterbacks and everything else are going to put up good points. But, I got some good potential in the running back department, right? I got Deion Lewis and Duke Johnson, right? And I really doubt that Duke Johnson is going to do too much, right? Because he's got a lot of other talent around his level on the team. But Deion Lewis, I think he's definitely going to put some points up. The Titans gave him a $20 million contract out of free agency, and you don't do that if you're going to have somebody ride the bench. So I definitely think he's going to get plenty of touches, and there's some potential points there, right? He'll never take over that number one running back spot for me over Ezekiel Elliott, right? And I mean, I'm going to have a really rough bye week because I think I have 4 of my big stars all have a bye week the same week.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, you gotta spread those out a little bit.
Well, at the same time, it's like now I only have 1 week where I have all those.
Yeah, you really take the hit that 1 week, but all the other weeks you're gonna be solid.
So we'll see. And I also got Greg Olson, right, the tight end. He got hurt last year, right, but he's dominated every other season that he's played, and last year was the first time he's ever missed a game, and that was because of the freak injury, but because of that, I can't really think that the dude's suddenly out of nowhere injury prone, right? I mean, if he's played every game, like one freak injury doesn't mean you're necessarily injury prone. Yeah, a little more so on that, same injury, but I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. And then I also got, for the wide receivers, right, I got Doug Baldwin, and, his coach said that, he should be ready for the season opener because he did get hurt and he's missing all the preseason games, so I kind of took a risk on that one, but, his coach has been really optimistic about where he's going and everything. So I really think that it's going to be good, but, I got Jacksonville's defense at the same time as the number 1 ranked defense in the league. It's just, I had the 5th pick and I snagged Ezekiel Elliott first, which, I can understand why he was still there at that point, but for me to get him and Aaron Rodgers and all these other players in a 12-man draft, it was pretty incredible, yeah.
So, like, what round did you get Aaron Rodgers in? The second round? Did you take him second, or?
No, I actually waited until I think, like, my 4th or 5th pick. No quarterbacks went at all.
Wow.
Yeah, it's all running back heavy in my league, right? And, like, I think as soon as I took Aaron Rodgers, I kind of opened the can of worms, right?
Yeah.
And then Tom Brady started getting picked, and all the other quarterbacks started getting picked.
Everybody started realizing that
we were working in a snake draft, right? So it's like I have like 2 picks kind of close to each other, and then I go a long time without a pick. And I was like, man, I feel like the quarterbacks are coming, so if I don't take him now, I'm probably not going to get a decent quarterback at all. Yeah. So I would say I kind of reached for him, but at the same time, I could afford it based on the other picks that I already had.
Yeah, solid draft considering.
Yeah, and if you guys want to check it out, I did post it on our Facebook page, so you can go there and check out the full draft that we had, and we'll be updating you as the regular season starts and the weeks go by to how my league is actually faring. But I think I have a pretty good chance of doing well this year. Yeah,
and another thing in the sports news that actually someone on Facebook asked us to talk about is the upcoming Conor McGregor fight.
Yeah. So, Conor McGregor just had a little run-in with the law.
Yeah.
He got real pissed off and ended up throwing a chair through a bus.
Yeah. Well, I think it was one of those like hand trucks. Like you'd carry, like you had like 5 boxes stacked up. It was like a hand truck.
Or like a whole dolly.
A whole dolly.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, he definitely got in trouble for it, and his last fight was his boxing match versus Floyd Mayweather, right? Yeah. And he did well, I think.
If you consider all the facts, right? Floyd Mayweather, pound for pound, arguably the best boxer to ever step in the ring,
for sure. Yeah.
Right, and then Conor McGregor calls him out. Talks some amazing shit along the way.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, like I've said it before. If you gave out a championship belt for the best trash talking, the best shit talking of all time, you'd have to give it to Conor McGregor.
You'd have to. Did you see the suit that he came out?
Yes.
The suit at his press conference, the pinstripe said "fuck you" all the way
Yes.
up. Oh man, that was epic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and he's fighting for the lightweight title on October 6th, right? And the guy he's up against is undefeated.
Yes.
I can't pronounce his last name. It is Khabib something.
Khabib? Yeah. I'm telling you, like, and this is being hyped as perhaps the biggest fight that the UFC has ever had.
Every time there's a UFC event, Joe Rogan comes on and hypes it as, this is going to be the most intense fight and the biggest fight in UFC history. So it's like every event, it's the biggest next fight.
But if you look at the things that have led up to the amount of it's not just a regular, okay, you're next on the list of people I have to beat.
Yeah.
history to these two guys, like
Oh,
some
yeah.
serious shit. Like, you know, Conor McGregor goes to court, gets assigned anger management for throwing a dolly into a bus window that this guy was on the bus.
Yeah, I mean, and I think it's pretty funny that you give a UFC fighter anger management classes.
Ironic.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of going through the motions on that. He's got to be, you know.
Yeah, he's the dude. He's the dude doing his 10 steps that really doesn't think he needs to be there.
Right, but he's putting on the show. You know?
Yeah. Oh, he's putting on the dog and pony show. Like, of course, I know I have a problem.
Or maybe he's not. You know, I'd love to know if he's just in there like, fuck all of you. Like, you know, I'm Conor fucking McGregor, and no matter what I say in here, I'm gonna get through this.
Yes.
So, you know, fuck you. Pretty much. I would love for that to be the reaction, and with him, it very well may be.
Quite possibly. So, who are you taking?
You know, it's tough, right? Because the Khabib guy, right? I can't say his last name, but he's undefeated and he holds a title. And in my opinion, and it happens a lot when you see the judging for a fight, right? To be the champion, you have to beat the champion. A lot of times, if it goes to decision, then the current champion usually wins, right? Because you have to beat that guy, prove that you are better than him. Don't sit there for 25 minutes and, you know, trade jabs and then, oh, you had a higher percentage of hits, so now you are the champion. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Right? But at the same time, I think Conor McGregor has no problem finishing anyone, and I think he's pretty pissed off despite his anger management classes.
Yeah.
And he obviously doesn't like this guy already because he tried to throw a dolly through a bus to hurt him.
Yeah.
So I think once they put the gloves on, Conor McGregor is going to come out pissed off and he's going to kick his ass. But at the same time, you know, with these fighters, you know, and you'll hear them say it is like they try to get the other fighter pissed off because that's when you start making mistakes. So we'll see if he's so pissed off over this whole thing that he comes out making mistakes because he just wants to kill the guy.
Khabib or McGregor?
Oh, I say McGregor.
Huh?
Yeah.
All right. So I look at it a little different. I think Habib is going to take him to
Khabib.
What?
Khabib.
Habib. People are going to give me shit for...
Yeah, we can just call him Beeb.
the Bieber.
Yeah, we'll call him Bieber.
Bieber.
Yeah.
Now I can't make my pick when I'm going to say that I think Bieber is going to beat him. Like, baby. Like, you can't do that. But, yeah, I think Khabib...
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to beat him. I think he wants to take it to the ground because he's got a better ground game than McGregor has. What McGregor has over him is if he comes in, McGregor gets him with a one good solid punch. Other than that, Khabib takes him to the ground and beats him on the ground.
I can see it. I can definitely see it. But I mean, you can't discount Conor McGregor's expertise in every area of fighting. So I mean, we'll see on October 6th what actually happens.
I'm going to say it will be a good fight to watch. Like, if you haven't
sure.
paid for a UFC pay-per-view in a while, this one's probably going to be worth your money. You know, some of them aren't. Some of them, you know, it's kind of a waste because they go quick or it's just not a very fun event. Like you said, it's just two dudes dancing around an octagon
for trading jabs. Yeah.
Yep, but I think this one's going to end beautifully.
Yeah, I agree.
So I just wanted to get into a couple random topics.
Okay, what you got?
All right, so scrolling through my Facebook feed, and I came across this article talking about something that the CDC had put out. So the handle on this CDC Twitter is @CDCSTD.
Okay.
So you know it's going to be good
when
it's coming from the CDC STD.
Yeah.
All right, so it's a picture of a bunch of rubbers.
Okay.
And it says, "We say it because people do it.
Oh boy.
Don't wash or reuse #condoms."
And there it is. Yep.
Use a fresh one for each #SexAct.
They said #SexAct.
Well, they made a hashtag for the word sex.
Oh, okay.
And it's a hashtag for the word condoms.
But did they write sex act?
Yes.
That's funny.
Yes. Use a fresh one. Now, I've remember the people who used to always talk about how poor they were and how many ramen noodles they ate
Yeah.
growing up?
Yeah.
Are you that poor? You're washing out your-
There are people who have been that poor for sure. I've actually heard stories about, why is that such a common story?
I don't know. I've never heard of it until I read this article, and I'm like, people fucking do that.
Do you think it's just a thing people say, like,
are they like? What's your evidence that people do it? I think it's just an old wise tale. Like, I just washed it out and threw that thing right back on.
I mean, I would just use some tinfoil or something,
That's rough.
Yeah.
Like, but
I mean, all the people in my generation, all they know how to use a condom for is to snort it. You remember when that whole thing was going on?
How many stupid challenges are they going to be? Like, I would love to say that was it the Kiki challenge or whatever that is.
I don't even get that thing.
I don't either. Because everybody's like, well, you put your car in neutral. No, there's somebody holding the phone, so there's somebody else in the car too.
Right, yeah.
But it's so I don't get the point. Remember when the coolest thing was the ice bucket challenge? Now that was that was a good challenge.
Well, now they've upgraded. They've upgraded that to the boiling water challenge.
Yes, I read that one too. Boy throws boiling water on his friend.
Who's thinking of this stuff, man?
Who thinks that's a good idea? Mind blowing that not only where are your parents?
Yeah,
where are they at to think? Because you don't get boiling water in 10 seconds.
No.
It's not like, oh yeah, I snuck some boiling water off the stove. Like, you had to crank the heat up for if it's a whole pot, probably at least a solid 10 minutes almost.
Yeah. And what possesses you to throw it on yourself, man? Like,
or a friend.
You ever actually?
What kind of a shitty friend are you?
You ever had like a pot of boiling water and you like accidentally like your finger touched it?
Yes.
This shit's hot.
Have you ever cooked some mac and cheese in some boiling water and you don't blow on it enough and you throw it in your mouth and it's hot as shit in your mouth?
Yeah. Yeah, for
but
sure.
Throw it on your friend.
Yeah, it's not going to be that hot if you throw it on his whole body,
No, it's dispersed out. It's not that hot. It's no big deal, bro. Until his skin is falling off of him.
Is that what happened? His skin?
Yes, his skin was like, it boiled it off. What do you do? What happens when you throw a chicken into boiling water?
The skin falls off,
literally, the meat falls off the bone. Yeah. Insane what these kids are doing. Like, when I remember, and the thing was, the ice bucket challenge wasn't even that long ago.
No.
And how many stupid challenges have we had in between Kiki challenge to ice bucket challenge?
Well, even with the ice bucket challenge, that was like for an actual good cause.
Yeah. What's the cause with the boiling water challenge? What's the cause behind the
promote Darwinism?
Yes. Let it. You know what? That's so true.
That's the cause of all these challenges.
Just let her ride. Just let her. All these people complain. Just let them ride. Natural selection will take care of these. Some of these people may not deserve adulthood.
No.
Let it go.
Yeah, and if they do make it to adulthood, they're the guy that climbs over the fence into the tiger cage at the zoo.
Yeah. Or lets their kid fall into the gorilla cage, and we got to kill Harambe.
Rest in peace.
Dicks out for Harambe. So the second thing I wanted to bring up was I was pissed off at the gym the other day. So I had messaged you and said, let's make a list of the top 5 things that piss us off at the gym.
Yeah, my list that I came up with was way more than 5 things. So I think I had like 30 things on there.
Yeah, it was very much a 5-ish.
Right.
Strong on the ish.
Yeah, with lots of honorable mentions.
Very. So we condensed it down and came together and made the top 5. So I'm going to start with number 1. And I have to pause before I say it because it just pisses
everybody
me off.
already knows what it is, man.
If they don't, then if you don't know what it is, you're probably the problem.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah. So number 1 is easily curling in the fucking squat rack.
Yes, it's a true epidemic. Millions are affected by others curling in the squat rack every day. Those of us who actually participate in the holy tradition of leg day know that there is no worse feeling than walking in excited to squat just to see someone curling 10 pounds in the squat rack.
And it's mind-blowing because when you're curling, especially where we go, there's only one rack.
Right.
There's only one squat rack.
And there's a million other places you can curl.
Yeah. You can, take them over by the treadmill. You can curl by the treadmill.
You can curl your 10-pound weights while you're on the treadmill.
Yeah. To do those curls, there are 2 requirements: 10-pound weights and arms. You can do it anywhere.
You sure can.
Oh. All right. So number 2 is being on a cell phone longer than it takes to change a song / standing there taking selfies.
Oh, yeah. I mean, We posted it on the Facebook page a while back, and I had developed the gym cell phone use equation. And basically you can plug in your numbers for whatever you are doing in the gym. It uses things such as, your max, 1 rep max on said exercise, how many reps you're going to be doing, your rest interval. It takes a lot of things into account. And then you plug all these numbers in and it's going to give you your allotted amount of time to use your cell phone in between sets. And I found, unless you're doing something absolutely crazy, you have roughly about 5 seconds to use your cell phone in between sets.
And I've thrown a couple different exercises at it. Amazingly accurate.
I know.
You're not going to find it. I would challenge anybody out there to go find it on our Facebook.
We'll post it again. Yeah,
we'll post it again and throw something in there. And if you're going to throw some random numbers in there, you better justify why you're throwing some random rest intervals when you're going to try to say you're doing squatting 405 for reps of 10 with a 30-second rest in between.
Yeah, if you say that, I'm going to immediately click on your profile and take a look at you and call you on your bullshit.
Yeah, you better have a picture of your legs as your profile pic, because I'm not believing it any kind of other way other than doing that.
I mean, if you look like you can do it, all the credit in the world to you.
Yeah, but it's, you throw the numbers in there, it's amazingly accurate. That it, no matter what numbers you throw in there, you're getting 3 to 6 seconds. No matter
what my
what.
favorite part about that equation is?
What's that?
That took me about 10 minutes to come up with while I was taking a shit.
Yeah, a mathematical savant over there.
I was at the gym and so pissed off at somebody using their phone that I went home. I took my post-game shit, and I'm sitting there so pissed off still that I just came up with it on my cell phone while I was taking a shit.
You're like the Goodwill Hunting of going to the gym.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
I'm coining that.
Good Terry Hunting.
Yeah, trademarked.
Yeah. So, all right, so number 3, half repping your reps to make you feel just a little bit stronger.
So, man, I saw this article on bodybuilding.com because, I used to be new to working out, so I still have bodybuilding.com on my Facebook, right? Because I live by the philosophy I never trust anybody with a bodybuilding.com t-shirt on. And bodybuilding.com had this article on there a couple days ago that actually advocated doing that, where,
half repping.
They said that if you throw just a ridiculous amount of weight on that you can't do, and you half rep it, then you will eventually be able to do it. And I'm like, man, I am 100% believer in the fact that for you to be able to lift a big amount of weight, you have to get your body accustomed to that big weight, right? Like for me to break through to 405 on squat, I failed at it. I can't even count how many times before I got it, but I tried a full rep every time. I got my body accustomed to that weight at every point of that rep.
Like, why don't you get accustomed to doing it by, again, if you're gunning for a 405 on squat, why don't you get stronger and accustomed to it by doing 315 for 5 sets of 5 or sets of 10 or whatever? Push yourself at a lower weight to strengthen your muscles up to eventually get stronger to hit that goal instead of just half repping it.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, like if you half rep it, you're going to get stronger, but only at that easy part of the rep.
Yeah,
once you go for your big weight and you go for the actual rep, you're going to get past where you've been half repping, and your body's going to be like, oh shit, man, this isn't what I've been training for, and you're just going to fall.
Yeah, and especially on like a bench press and squatting, where your real the real weight is, the real struggle of that lift is not at the top half of it. It's not at the top half of the bench press. It's not at the bottom half of the top half of the squat. It's at the bottom half of the bench press. It's at the bottom half of the squat. So I mean, if you're going to half rep it, drop all the way down and half rep it up.
The only time I would actually accept this is on a rack pull, because
there is a design. We posted an article from Testosterone Nation, kind of going over the
because the thing with like
rack pull.
With like a deadlift, it's like a lot of times the barrier for you to be able to pick a heavy weight up is not in your legs. It's in your lower back, having the ability to actually, sustain yourself through that rep. So the rack pull is actually a legitimate half rep, that can strengthen the parts of your body that need to get stronger to pull a heavier weight that the rest of your body is ready for.
Yep. Terrible.
Yeah.
You're going to half rep it. Half rep the part that counts.
Yeah.
The top half is not where it really is count.
No.
All right, number 4, grunting.
Yeah, we at the gym we used to work out at. You remember him? He was in there every day, which I mean, good on him for being in there every day. But it's the unnecessary grunting. Like
Yes.
when I squat or bench, if I'm going for a big weight, I'm gonna grunt. Yeah, but I'm trying to lift hundreds of pounds, But if you got the 30-pound dumbbells in your hand, man, unless you just did like 50 reps with that shit,
Yeah.
keep your mouth shut.
Yeah. The dude you're talking about, he's sitting there with the 30s, maybe doing some lateral raises with the 30s, but he's grunting like he's got like the 60s or the 70s
Oh,
in
yeah.
hand, just going to town.
Yeah.
Like, hey, shut up, man. Like, yeah, like you said, keep it to yourself. Nobody wants to hear it.
Yeah, and that guy, he smelled really bad too.
He
But,
did.
Yeah.
He's really bad might be the understatement, where he wore his what was basically like massive crotchless underwear as his top.
Yeah, he really did. And,
It was
and
like
he, and,
crotchless panties. As
but
a
his
top.
issue was he wore it every day.
And
We started to catch on to it after a while, but he wore it every day.
Did you only bring one set of clothes with you? Do you only have one set of clothes to work out in?
Yeah.
Let me throw you a bone, man. Let me throw you $20. Go get an Under Armour shirt.
Yeah.
But have you heard the guy grunting on Facebook?
Yeah.
The video.
Well, I wouldn't call it grunting.
Like it's more of a female grunt, which it can kind of sound pretty hot.
Yeah.
But
Not here.
coming from this guy, it's definitely the most embarrassing thing. I don't see how he did that with a straight face the entire time.
Yeah.
I would have did it once and then went.
Yeah, I would have lost it.
All right, number 5, last one, circuit training.
Yeah, so, I mean, me, myself, I do supersets and things of that nature, but I never use more than 2 things at once because, there's always other people in the gym that want to use stuff. And, I see people sometimes that are on, 4 or 5 pieces of equipment, and you're just really impeding everybody else's workout at that point. Like, if you want to go use that many pieces of equipment, do your circuit training, go to your CrossFit gym, man. Like, you don't need to be in my sanctuary doing your CrossFit.
Yeah, so like for me, like I don't have this massive problem with CrossFitters. Like I like Olympic lifts. I think there's a time and a place for an Olympic lift. Like
For
if you
sure,
watch those
yeah.
guys, it's like a dude that weighs $170 snatching 300 pounds over his head.
Extremely impressive.
It's I would say defying physics at some point.
Yeah.
I don't understand how this is possible
Yeah.
right now. But my issue with it is all these guys think they're the Rich Froning, but really they're just the Steve Urkel going in there. Not everybody's a Rich Froning of CrossFit.
Yeah.
And I get, Rich Froning didn't get there overnight to become the 4-time in a row, most. What award do they give at the end of the CrossFit? The most fit man on earth.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I got
Okay.
it. He won it 4 years in a row. Cool. And to me, impressive.
Yeah.
His body type and the strength he has to do the things he does. But these guys walk in there like they are the living embodiment of Rich Froning.
Yeah.
And you're not. Like, look, dude, if that's the way you want to work out, that's cool. But don't quit trying to pretend you're something that you're not.
Right.
All right, so, hey, don't forget to follow us over on Facebook at the official Man Cave Podcast. We got us on Twitter at the Man Cave 14, and over on Instagram, follow us at the Man Cave Podcast as well. And don't forget, we will be on Facebook. But if you want the full, no safe space, no bullshit experience, check us out and subscribe to us over on Patreon, right? It starts at $1, and for only $1, you'll be entered in to win a UKEG 64-ounce stainless steel growler and all kinds of prizes that we're going to give away. You heard that right. For just $1, you could win a $140 fully pressurized growler. And so it's just like having beer on tap at your place.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I've used one before. It's awesome. But here's the thing, man, and I want to pitch this idea to you right now, is, we look on Patreon, and it says we're giving that away once we hit 300 patrons. And I think that, that's a little bit way down the line in terms of 300. So I think that we can take this time to say, once we hit a different number of patrons, we can give that thing away.
Absolutely, right? I think we'll drop that number down probably tomorrow and bring that number down and make it easier to attain.
Yeah,
and we're gonna give that, and it's gonna give it away quicker. So make sure you tell your friends to hop on over there. It's like I said, it's just $1.
Yeah, and other than that, it's not like this is the only thing that we're giving away on Patreon. We're gonna start rolling out things to our patrons here real soon, right? We have a lot of ideas in the works. If you go on to our Patreon, you can see kind of like an outline of the near future things we want to start doing. So, check it out and definitely subscribe, and you can start getting a lot of cool stuff. And the Patreon's going to pay for itself. If you were to buy the things that we're going to end up giving away, you'd be spending a lot more money than, the $1 or $5 a month.
Yeah, right. So to me, I look at the dollar. How many people out there love to gamble? How many people go to Vegas every year and throw hundreds of dollars away on these odds that are insurmountable? You throw $1 at something and you have a decent chance, especially right now, starting out, you got a decent chance to win a pretty cool prize.
Oh, yeah.
And tell your friends, right? I know you might want to keep it a secret because you don't want your friend to win instead of you winning, but that's the only way we're going to grow this thing. And then the more we grow, the more things we can give away to our patrons.
Yeah.
And then for $5 a month, you're not only going to get entered to win the prizes, you'll get exclusive access to half of our podcasts that we make. Half of them is going to be made to the public. The other half is going to be only available to our $5 level Patreon members.
Yeah, this first month though, everything's going to be free for everyone, right? Where everything's going to be public for the first 4 episodes, and then after that, we're going to start doing the 50-50.
And then you'll get exclusive access to tell us what you want to talk about and give us feedback on all the topics from every podcast.
Yeah, and this episode of The Man Cave is brought to you by our current patrons. Thank you to Lance, Alex, Rachel, Zach, and Mark. And happy birthday, Mark. But thank you guys very much. And we're going to start rolling some stuff out to you guys real soon.
So, hey, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay with us. We'll see you next time here in The Man Cave.
Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Any real man would follow us on Patreon for exclusive content and prizes at patreon.com/The Man Cave Podcast. The Man Cave. No safe spaces, no bullshit.